It's no joke when you choke, so get LifeVac and live. Without breath, there'll be death. So get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live.
LifeVac and live.
Hey, get LifeVac and live. Welcome to In the Arena. I'm Rick Fatscher, along with Patrick O'Rourke. And, each week we like to highlight a special member of the LifeVac team. We don't always talk, solely about LifeVac, but tonight we certainly are because we have Heidi Felix, Vice President of Sales, in the house, in the studio, in the arena. And we're so happy to have you.
So it's nice to have a woman in the arena too.
Absolutely. Heidi, we struggle. Pat knows this. We struggle each week, depending on if the guest is female or not, with saying, because we've changed the name of the show to In the Arena to just make it easy for me because I'm a simple man.
And Weeda doesn't fit.
And what?
Man in the arena, woman in the arena. Weeda?
Weeda? Yeah. That's our code, by the way. If you go to www, I don't even know why I have to add that, but lifevac.net and use code MITA, you can get 20% off of a LifeVac to save you or protect those you love and friends and family. And you can also get a copy of Arthur's book. I'm having a lot of trouble tonight.
Arthur's an author.
Yeah.
That's a tongue twister.
Author's
right
book.
Sorry,
That
Can't
he's
is
the
a
author
lie
of.
with a all new cover
Yes.
and packaging. It's
New graphics.
fantastic to see. Sorry, Can't is a lie. Again, lifevac.net.
That's the old one.
Use code MITA.
That's the one they give out in hotel rooms. Now they have a new one.
I love it. It's funny. Every time I see a flat squirrel, I always think of Arthur. There's a picture.
I was going to ask you later, but
Yeah.
I'll jump to this question now. Of the chapters of the book, and you were there while he was writing it, I'm sure, and was had many conversations with Arthur, the author. What chapter, if any, stands out to you or means the most? Do you align with?
Well, I would say the survivor chapter and what
we're
he
gonna
went
talk.
through. I mean, that's a big reason why Arthur and I have a connection. When I met him, you always think he's got to have a story, right? There's got to be a story behind this man. And I learned his story, and I remember thinking to myself, you survived something that was so horrific. And, I know one of my friends who I actually was a Girl Scout leader with, her husband was supposed to be in that car with him. And Al Modis, he actually wasn't.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Al tells that story. He's like, I had to work, and sometimes we have to work. And Margaret's like, I'm so grateful that he wasn't there.
Wow.
And I knew them for 20 years before I actually met Arthur.
Wow. And we'll get to when you met Arthur and connected, and you have that bond. You were talking earlier about that survivor mindset.
Yeah.
What do you want to tackle first?
Oh gosh.
Let's talk about how you met.
Let's talk about happy stuff.
You know what? Yeah.
Right,
and before you do that, I wanted to just something popped in my head because Pat, talk about missing something. Were you supposed to sleep over the DeFeo's house?
No, no.
Well, I live right down the street.
That's an old wives' tale.
Yes, he actually was on my Mustang football team.
Right.
And he was hurt at that point because he broke his leg and he's in a wheelchair. But no, I remember the coaches coming to practice. It happened in the fall.
Right.
And the coaches came to practice and they were all crying. I'm like, why are the coaches crying? And they told us, one of your teammates got killed. So, but then after that, when we were all in high school, we used to drop guys off and they'd sneak in the basement and sleep in the basement, like Dave Diliberto. Ooh, I shouldn't say that on the air, but.
Yeah. Statute of limitations on
should-
sleeping at the Amityville Horror House is what we're talking
Dave
about.
wouldn't be upset, yes.
Well, the funny thing
Dave
is,
Diliberto.
Sure, great guy.
Classic.
Yep.
every time I say I live in Amityville now, people are like, have you seen the horror house? I'm like, I live 2 blocks away.
Wow.
And the crazy thing is on Halloween, it is insane how many people are on Ocean Avenue. So I actually walked it with my daughter and our little puppy, my grand puppy, and they actually play it up a little bit. They had a little girl up in the upstairs
Get
and
out of
little
town.
red eyes. And I was a little freaked out because I read the book and
They're
obviously
embracing
I live
they're
right there.
embracing the history. There's been
Yep.
occupants of that house on Ocean Avenue in Amityville that have not been too happy with passersby, especially on Halloween.
Yeah.
Or any other times. I remember getting kicked out of there when the kids were small, driving driving past?
Well, there is surveillance there, but apparently the woman who lives there, and I found this out from one of my girlfriends who actually works at What a Girl Wants, and she said, my daughter got invited to do to babysit these kids, and she was like, "Oh, you can't make me go there, mommy. I'm not going to go." But the woman who actually owns the house now is a holistic healer. She actually has a place right in Amityville on Broadway, and she has healed this house. Is what I'm told.
You burn those incense, right? The sage.
There's got to be a lot
happen.
of sage.
Yeah.
I have a creepy basement, so I don't even like to go in my basement. I can't even imagine what it'd be like to go in that one.
Any history in your house in South Amityville?
Not yet. I'm trying to make some history.
You're making some history there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So let's back up.
I'm going to haunt my house forever.
Pat, I know you don't know this story of how Heidi came in contact with Arthur Lee, CEO, inventor of LifeVac, who couldn't be with us tonight because he's out in the arena, in another arena, doing great things and changing the world.
Yeah. So I worked for a little bank called NEFQ, which is now Jovia.
NEFQ.
And
I see this, Jovia.
Yep. We used to be, a lot of people didn't really understand what NEFQ stood for, so they rebranded and they're Jovia, and I love them. It's a great bank. I did business development for them. So I had a friend of mine that I worked with at Xerox that had invented a game called I Can Save. And we decided to co-brand it with NEFQ, and we did financial literacy programs. And so my friend Joan Pacino, we had this.
You are the queen, but you are the queen, by the way, of name recall and detail recall.
For years.
Fantastic.
We had our babies together, so we were friends for probably 20 years. So we had run into each other, and she was telling me about what she was doing, and I said, "Oh, let's co-brand I Can Save, right? It's a fun game for kids to learn how to save. And I wanted to do financial literacy. So we had co-branded it. Of course, I pitched it to my corporate and they were like, this is a great idea. And I was going to underprivileged communities and teaching people how to manage their money, right? So sure enough, we go to this Shark Tank competition, right? So it's angel investors.
Now, Shark Tank alike, right?
It's actually at the launch pad, right? So we're at Mineola and Joan and I are all ready. We're going to go in there. We're going to pitch our financial literacy program, right? And I sit down next to Arthur Lee, and game changer, right? So I'm like, what are you pitching? And he's like telling me his story. And all of a sudden I'm flashing back to an incident that had happened with me. And it was just like, it was surreal because I said, if that device existed, oh my God, it would have been so much easier and saving somebody's life. My God, have you saved anybody? He's like, not yet. Right. So at that point, I'm like,
I think it works.
I think it works. That's exactly what he said. Right. So he gets up there and he does his demonstration, and Arthur is just the king of demonstrations. And he's so confident that he's going to save lives. Right.
I like when he goes, ta-da, save a baby.
Right. I mean, we're like, how do you follow that guy? He's going to save lives. Right. So, we get up there, we do our thing. And, of course, everyone does their pitch. And in the end of it all, I go up to him and I go, oh my God, I just want to get your card. I want to get to know you. It's amazing what you're doing. And I had said to the angel investors, I go, if I were you, I'd give him all the money.
Yeah.
And my friend Joan's like, what is wrong with you? Oh my God. You're giving it all away. And well, neither one of us got the money, which was fine. Joan is doing very well with this game, which is Grace Play now. And she did get some investors and, she's done a remarkable job.
So the game became a game.
It is a real game.
In a different.
It is. It's I Can Save. And so, and ironically, Jovia has a financial literacy program that is not this one, but it is a good one. But I truly believe in the whole foundation of what we were trying to accomplish, but as well following Arthur, right? I'm like, how do you follow
Did you get to see his presentation?
Oh, yeah. I literally had to follow him.
Yeah. LifeVac should be I Can Save. He should have just stole that.
I Can Save. Yeah,
I Can Save.
I Can Save.
I'm saving lives.
That was what we were joking about it, because I'm like, this whole program that we're doing is I Can Save. He's like, and he goes, and I'm going to save lives. And I'm like, and you will. So I literally started following Arthur. We became really good friends. I started telling everybody that I knew. They're like, do you work for this guy? I go, no, I don't, but everyone that I knew.
When you believe in something so strongly, and you'd been in sales before, but when sales becomes something that you're so passionate about and you're a product of the product and you believe in the product, it just becomes second nature. Yeah. There are no sales skills to really
it's the passion, right?
Yes,
the passion and
absolutely.
the purpose. And I could see it in his eyes, because when he told me the story, about it was like, nothing can happen to my Jackie, and my friend Steve watched this incident. And, now I tell the story, right? When I go into, I was just at the Levittown Property Owners Association meeting, and I get up there and I tell Arthur's story. I tell the story about how I met Arthur, and then I tell the story about Arthur, and Stephen witnessing this choking incident. And I'm like, and he's my VP of operations now, Stephen, right?
Yeah.
And so, all these people that have really believed in Arthur from day one,
Right.
some in the audience too as well, that really, when you know somebody who has such a purpose-driven life, that's exactly the best thing I can say about him.
Yeah. Mike Rowe, by the way, met Arthur and was so moved by, there should be more people like Arthur Lee.
True.
And when Mike Rowe says that says something.
Well, and it was funny because, we just kept in touch, and I would tell everybody that I knew, and I'm like, I have thousands of people that I know. I hate to say it. Like, I really do. I have a lot of people that I know. Let me post your stuff. And so I started doing that, and people started coming to LifeVac, and he's like, you got to get a code. We got to get you going. And so what was so crazy, I did that for 5 years, right? And I'm in the middle of the pandemic. And at this point, I'm working in Manhattan. I work down by Wall Street, and I used to sell facility services, right? So my company, the Millennium Group, actually managed Madison Square Garden, Yankee Stadium.
Not small.
We had some pretty
small
cool
clients.
accounts, right? And but Arthur kept saying to me, like, one day you're going to come work for me. I'm like, I don't know if you could afford me, because I got 2 kids in college and whatever. So here we're in the middle of a pandemic, and I'm trying to sell facility services. Can't sell facility services because nobody's in their facilities, right?
They're all shut down. They're non-essential, by the way.
Yeah, exactly. So
Crazy.
I said a prayer. I said, God, I can't do this anymore. I need something that I believe in. And my phone rings. Now, I know Lisa
Crazy.
and Nunny, God wink is what we call this,
Right.
right? I literally still get chills today. And it's Arthur on the phone. And he goes, are you ready to work for me full time?
Wow.
I said, you're never going to believe this, Arthur. I literally just said a prayer. He goes, well, you're a woman of faith. And he goes, and it's time that you come and work for LifeVac. And that was 5 years ago.
5 years ago.
5 years ago. And I remember him inviting me out to the facility, because at one point they didn't even have a facility, right? Everybody was kind of.
Well, it was the garage or a portion of the Warner's house in Massapequa, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
No. And it was funny because Mike Singer had it in his basement. Like, they were building things. And so he's like, Heidi, we got to save lives. We got to save lives. And so sure enough, he brings me out to the facility in Wisconsin, which was very tiny.
So is this prior to 2016? Were you there for the first, or this is after the first?
No, I knew him.
2020.
I knew him at the first.
So my math skills are in the toilet right now.
Yeah, no, he called to tell me about the
Math,
Jackie
you just
story.
said it.
But so I followed him for all those years, right? And then sure enough, he brings me out to the facility, and there's 62 pictures on the wall.
62.
Yeah, I had all the stories memorized.
Coming
and
up
I'm
on 5,000, by the way.
Calling people. They're hanging up with LifeVac, LifeVac. And it got to the point where I was like, Arthur, this is really hard, right? Yeah. This is like, I didn't really expect it to be this hard, right? And he's like, this is what I've been dealing with, Heidi. He's like, I told you,
Yeah.
So sure enough, here we are. Like, look behind us, right?
Yeah.
I think we're at 4,000.
For those listening in San Diego, LA, Houston, Orlando, Dallas, New York City, certainly in Allentown, you hear the voice, you hear the passion of Heidi Felix, and you hear the passion behind the mission that is LifeVac. But we are literally sitting in a virtual hall of saves, surrounded by, I think there are 3,000 lives represented, and we're now approaching, because the engineers are working on ways to display the extra 2,000 lives within the hall of saves. Very inspirational. Very inspirational place.
Like, I start my day in there, and I walk through there, and it's like, I've held these
10
babies. I've met these people, right? And and now I have, like, this has been the most incredible week. And so that's why I said, let's start with happy, right?
Yes.
I get a phone call from, I sit on a board called the Kiwanis Pediatric Trauma Center Foundation.
Hold on a second again. Kiwanis
Pediatric Trauma Center Foundation. It's actually a foundation where we raise money for the trauma centers. KPTC is called. And it's one of my volunteer jobs. And Arthur's always like, stop volunteering. But he likes it, actually. I think he enjoys it.
He knows. There's no stopping you.
He knows it's part of you. It's just who you are. But sure enough, I get a phone call from my president of the foundation telling me that we've saved a life at the Wonder Wheel in Coney Island. And we've donated this pediatric trauma center kit to the owner of the Wonder Wheel. And his son is the one who used it to save a life, who I really wanted to get on, but he's out of the country at the moment.
Yeah. By the way, when we were discussing you coming on, you had about, a half a dozen at least people potential, but they're all in their arenas going out there. Some of them are out of the country, but all wanted to be here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it was really cool because I really wanted Joe Craze to come on, because what we do is we have trauma centers in Stony Brook as well as the Cohen's Medical Center, and we're trying to keep kids out of the trauma center.
And you know what? You're listening to Heidi Felix, and we're going to be back with more of her story and the LifeVac story and Pat's story, God willing, after this break.
Protect your family. Buy LifeVac now.
Thank you, Daddy.
That was us over 10 years ago.
Now LifeVac is responsible for saving over 4,000 lives from choking.
In the time it takes you to pick up the phone and call, another life could be saved.
The LifeVac saved my life in 1 to 2 seconds.
Protecting families has always been our mission. I'm sure you love your family like I love my daughter. Do us all a favor and get your own LifeVac now.
Go to lifevac.net or call 877-LifeVac. Order now.
Hey, welcome back to the arena. The arena. Welcome back in the arena. I'm Rick Fatscher along with Pat O'Rourke, and tonight we're talking to Heidi Felix, Vice President of Sales. And before, you were just about to share a poignant moment.
Yeah, so it was pretty incredible to hear the story about this life that was saved at the place that, how many people, who hasn't seen or been on the Wonder Wheel in their lifetime, right? But what was so incredible is we actually have an upcoming fundraiser. And so it's kind of a cool story to share, because we're doing a gala, and everything that we raise at our gala goes directly to support the trauma centers. So pretty exciting. So it's like my collision of my volunteer life and my work life coming to fruition. It does. It comes to fruition quite a bit. Then we had another life that was saved in Trumbull, Connecticut. And I had worked with the police officer, Samantha Fortunato, who is literally on Channel 8 right now up in Connecticut. Otherwise, she would have been here.
She was doing a show, and we don't mind that.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's still sharing the story.
So
how did that happen?
So that was there was a tragedy, unfortunately, in a restaurant where a man our age unfortunately choked to death, and it was
low 40s.
It was
37.
Right, exactly, like I feel like 29 again. And unfortunately this gentleman had passed away, and it was a choking incident. Unfortunately, this man never made it out of the ER. And it's a hard decision as anybody, right? To what do we do? And so this police officer really wanted to make sure that she was equipped, and she made sure her police department was equipped with LifeVac.
So like Arthur Lee, she either was there when it happened or heard about that when it happened and was inspired. Hey, if LifeVac had been there, this may have been avoided, and I'm going to do my best to make sure it doesn't happen to somebody else.
Well, that's what's so amazing, is that restaurant is now equipped with LifeVac, and the family of the gentleman who passed.
Is it a chain?
No, actually it's not.
Sole proprietor.
Yeah. So
not like Eggs Up Grill.
Well, yeah. So, Sam and I presented to the Chambers of Commerce and got them involved, and they went around, and literally the family of the man who passed and all the people in the chamber all kind of banded together to let everybody know that LifeVac is something that's a viable option, and that they would not have to worry about those kind of situations again if they were equipped with a LifeVac. So the good news is we have a 10-month-old that was saved up there in Trumbull, Connecticut. So that was such a cool story. And, there's just so many of them. That's what's so crazy. So last night I was telling you, I was actually at the Nassau County Police Academy. We are blessed that we have LifeVac at all the patrol cars in Nassau County, which is amazing. And then we have at least 6 that I know of that have been reported to us of lives saved directly from police officers that I know, right? That have used the LifeVac.
It's a fascinating situation where every patrol car in our, if for those folks listening nationally, Long Island is divided into 2 counties. I think the more populated and the more dense and the more, probably problematic area, Nassau County, close to Queens, Brooklyn, Queens, has it in every, LifeVac is in every patrol car, but we don't really hear much about it or are able to talk too much about it. Is
Well,
that just politics?
Well, I will tell you, Commissioner Ryder is a really amazing man, and
Yes.
he is, he's a cop's cop. He, wants to equip his guys with everything that they need in order to be responding to whatever incident there is. And I have to tell you, we have so many supporters in that
Yes.
organization. What was really interesting is that also here in the town of Oyster Bay, Commissioner McCaffrey put it in all of the public safety vehicles. So I get invited to this event, which is with all Long Island first responders, all from, we're talking FDNY, NYPD, Suffolk, sheriff, state troopers. We have probably 400 people in the room. I'm at the police academy in the auditorium, and we all have to stand up and we get 15 seconds. Now that's hard for me.
15
right?
seconds. Yeah.
I mean, I like to talk. So I get up there and I
Long pause.
say, exactly. Thank you, Commissioner Ryder, for putting LifeVac in all your patrol cars. Thank you, Commissioner McCaffrey, for putting it in all the public safety vehicles. We are so grateful. And I know I'm just saying thank you on behalf of me and Arthur Lee, who couldn't be here today. So everyone's going around the room, and up stands this young man in the middle of the room and says to me, I just want to say thank you, Heidi, and LifeVac. You saved my son's life. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean, my reaction was like, oh my God. And I
Did you
invited
hug-
him to
did
be
you get
here
to hug
this evening,
Ben?
and he couldn't. But him and his wife, they're so sweet. They sent me a picture of this
How
cute
old was
little
it?
boy.
I saw you saw the picture
Oh my God,
this morning.
he was a year old. And, who hasn't ever had a situation where you're like, what do I do? What do I do? Right. And I mean, he goes, I'm a police officer. I know exactly what to do. Right. And he's like, I'm hitting this kid on the back and it wasn't working.
Mm.
And he's like, my wife grabbed the LifeVac, and sure enough, our boy's alive. And, he's this big burly guy, and I see tears in his eyes. I'm like, can I give you a hug? I'm like, that was the most, like, just hearing his story. And, what was just so remarkable is that here I am in a room of first responders, right? And this guy stands up and the whole room erupts in applause. They're like, oh my God.
And that flips a switch.
Like, it wasn't staged,
You know,
right?
yeah.
So now I'm walking around the police academy, and there's a village, right? This is how they train all the police officers.
They have the train station.
So they have a train station, they have a bank, they have a place of worship, they have homes. I mean, it's just incredible. And they have a bar restaurant. And guess what they have in the bar restaurant?
I'm guessing a LifeVac.
A LifeVac.
Nice.
So I had sent a picture. I said to Rick, I'm like, yeah, this is hysterical. Like, I'm sitting here in the police academy, training center, and there's my LifeVac right there.
And that's the way restaurants should be.
All of them should have it,
Yeah.
So what's great is that we're starting to see the tides turn, where it's now people are really recognizing the need for having this in wherever food is being served.
Yeah. Talk about the great work that's being done in Houston.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Tony LeBate.
Yep. I love Tony. We've been super busy with a bill that was passed, obviously, in Texas. And we've had thousands of school districts that are now equipped with LifeVac for that very reason. So we're really excited.
Yeah. So those of you listening in Houston and Dallas, the school coming the new year in 2026? Or is it right now in the fall?
No, it actually was passed in June, and they have to be equipped by the end of September.
That's new.
Yeah, we've been super busy.
Little
It's a
June
good
22nd.
thing. Yeah, it's a good thing.
What's that, Pat?
June 22nd, if you remember correctly. That's what Tony was telling us.
That's when it passed.
That day was either they're going to put it through or not, and they actually passed it. She
Yep.
thought they weren't going to, but they did. So
So she's
Let's go to Rabbit.
amazing.
Yep.
Tony and I went to the New York City Council and testified in front of the Education Committee, and we sat there for close to 12 hours that day just to make sure we had our voice heard. And Tony is a passionate woman who has got a purpose, and I have a bill introduced in New York City.
And there's 11 other, I believe 11 other states that has legislation.
Yep. We
Due in
actually
large
met with a
part-
guy from Maryland, wonderful guy, Metzger. So, there's so many people that are, if you've ever had a choking incident, or if you've ever witnessed one or lost somebody to choking, then, those are the people that have that purpose and that passion.
Yeah. But when Houston goes, who do you think, or who does Tony think would be next to fall? Because I heard something just, sickening, really, that a blue state, oh no, I'm sorry, a red state
Florida.
would not follow. They would not be the one to follow. We're not going to be the one to follow Texas.
Interesting.
Crazy.
Well, I will tell you that we've had it
There are no
introduced in New York
politics in
State
choking.
twice. It went through the Assembly and got roadblocked afterward in the Senate. And then we had it introduced in the Senate. And then, sometimes these things just don't move. It's really frustrating.
And that's the wheels. When you talk about the great Red Cross guideline update, and you hear the previous update was about 40 years ago.
47 to be
So
exact.
47.
Yeah.
So sometimes the wheels of change, you just grind very slowly,
Yeah.
and it takes longer. And I just think that with Equal First Aid and with other advocates out there, and we've got a host of advocates in different states, and this thing will get done, because people, when they become aware of LifeVac, I see it time and time again. You guys should be everywhere. You know where you should be?
I get that all the time. I'm like, oh, I didn't even really think about that. Somebody will go, it should be in every school. We're trying. What we're really passionate about now and we're focusing on is a lot of the developmental disability communities who are 10 times more likely to have choking incidents. And, the mortality rate is really high in that population. And so I've been working with hundreds of these organizations. And this week I was supposed to be at the New York State. It's called the IDD conference. So all people that are directors of nursing for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And last year I went to the conference and one of the agencies deployed it, and we have 2 lives saved in People Inc., which is incredible. Same in DDI, which is Developmental Disabilities Institute, which was a big...
So many acronyms. How does she remember them all?
Well, I mean, when you deal with these people, they're amazing.
Trying to write
but
them
like
down.
a Sheila Thurman, I mean, she's such a huge advocate. Even though I'm not physically there, she's calling me. She's like, Angel from so-and-so, she's calling you. She has to deploy it. And so it's what's so wonderful is that we have also developed people with purpose-driven passion,
Absolutely.
right? To advocate for us, which is a beautiful thing. And, people are like, I wish I could bottle your energy. And I go, me too, on those days that I don't have it,
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I haven't seen many of those days. And I know you've been dealing with
I try to stay under the radar.
It's called MESC.
in and outside of the LifeVac arena.
This is her tired, by the way. She worked all
amazing.
day.
Yeah.
Lucky
This is her winding down.
Why so down today?
Yes.
I know. It's all good.
How about the efforts and one of my areas of focus this year, besides the great In the Arena show, which you're
and the
listening to?
2016 COVID.
Yes. I was thinking of the Life Save, but now I forgot my question.
It's okay.
Talk about the efforts with the VA.
Okay, so we've been working with the VA. There was a very passionate woman down in Orlando who was able to implement
Annie
it.
Ball.
I love my Annie. Annie Ball actually got it implemented in the Orlando VA, and we have 3 lives saved, all disabled veterans in wheelchairs, which is really remarkable. But what I love about Annie is she's become one of our purpose-driven, passionate people who actually is letting everybody know about it. So I actually have been working on VA Boston as well as VA Palo Alto. Pretty remarkable people that are really looking to make a change, to give them another option in cases, specifically when people are in wheelchairs, right? In the community living centers, many of these veterans, unfortunately, are immobile. They're either
It's hard
in
to
their
Heimlich
beds.
them. Yep. It's hard to do the other procedures. Yes.
It's almost impossible.
Yes.
I mean, and protocol is remove them from the wheelchair, which is exactly what Annie can attest to. She lost one of her beloved veterans because he was a big guy. It took 2 of them to get him out of the wheelchair, and he had a cardiac arrest, which is what most people don't recover from. It's not so much the airway obstruction, it's the cardiac arrest. If there's a full airway obstruction and you have no oxygen to the brain, unfortunately, you'll go unconscious, and then it's really hard to move them, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I love about these organizations that I work with. My father is a veteran. My brother is a veteran. To me, we have to protect our veterans.
Absolutely.
We have to protect the most vulnerable populations, the littles, right?
Yeah.
All these little children. If one child dies every 5 days, where are they spending their days? That's in school, right? And whether it be a preschool or a nursery school. And it just makes me think of, my own children, right? And just last week, it was an emotional week for me. My daughter's first day of preschool was 9/11, and I worked a block from the Trade Center, and I wasn't there. So we always say there's a reason why God saves us, right? And I always say that to Arthur, like when you've been through tragedies, when you've experienced these things, I have so many friends who made it out, and I have friends who didn't, unfortunately. And I have friends who are still dying from the cancer. So, I always look at God puts us where we need to be, right? And that day that I met Arthur Lee, that was where I needed to be.
Right.
And I didn't know at the time that this is where I would wind up, right? So a lot of difficult circumstances led me on this path, a horrific divorce that did not end well. And, I had a friend who was willing to give me...
There are very few that do end well.
Well,
but I understand from knowing some of the details.
It wasn't
Yes.
a positive experience. However, my children are great,
awesome
right?
kids.
And that's how you got to look at life. And we're all good, right? I mean, I am here because of all these terrible things that kind of led up the path to LifeVac, right? And meeting Arthur and all these wonderful things that have happened since. And, I said this, to my ex-husband, we were at a wedding, and I said, I just want to thank you. And he's like, what? I'm like, thank you. I said, because literally my life is so much better. And not that I'm not trying to be condescending or passive aggressive in any way. I truly love what I do. I truly love working for LifeVac. And, to me, I wouldn't be here. Right. I'd probably still be running his company, or doing something else. And so, sometimes when you're pushed to the limit and you feel like, I feel like a phoenix that rose from the ashes, literally. Some days there were some days that were hard to get out of bed, but I had 2 kids that I had no choice. I had
and sometimes
to do
you're rising again from the ashes.
I am.
Yeah.
Coming out of the abyss.
You're listening to Heidi Felix, of Vice President of Sales of LifeVac, and you're listening to In the Arena. I'm Rick Fatscher, along with Pat O'Rourke, and we've been talking about, Heidi's, and it's vast, the impact that you've had on the company in the short 5 years, and 4 or 5 previous to that as an advocate. We were talking about the VA, and what I was struck with is that the amount of work and effort you put in and all you accomplished in these different areas. We were trying to, this year, try to connect the very top of the VA with all of these, like Annie and Annie Ball in Orlando, and Cynthia Shum in California. And I still think it can happen, where we kind of connect these two and then make it a little bit easier for the rest of the country to fall in line and say, hey, this is a simple fix.
Yeah.
Let's get them in the housing facilities. Let's get them at home with the veterans that are more prone to a choking emergency.
Yeah.
They're doing most of their eating not in the centers, or if they're in the living facilities, great, have them there too.
Yeah.
But I think that is a noble mission. And that's why we have such a great connection with other veterans organizations. We had Warrior Ranch on. We talked to Tunnel for Towers. All of those folks that look out for our veterans have a kinship and have a synergy with LifeVac, certainly.
Yeah, and it was really neat. I talked to this one woman up in Manchester, New Hampshire. Her name is Patricia, and she was just so funny. She goes, it took me like 14 months, Heidi. She was like, I kept saying, what are you guys, idiots? Don't you realize we need another option? And she's so real. She goes, I'm sorry. She's very
we know what that's
interesting.
like, Pat, right?
She throws out the F-bombs, and I'm cracking up as I'm talking to her. She goes, I'm so sorry. I'm a sailor. So I have a sailor mouth. And she goes, I hope I'm not offending you. I'm like, no, I'm really being entertained by this conversation right now. Because she told me all of the challenges that she had. And I go, you have no idea. I've been working on the VAs for years.
Yes.
And I get it. I understand. And I said, and what happens is there's a choking incident that doesn't end well. And then all of a sudden they're all scrambling.
Right.
So this is why we need to be proactive. We need to prevent those choking tragedies, because our veterans deserve to have equal opportunities to be resuscitated in a choking emergency, whether they're immobile or not. And, so it's been an interesting ride. I'm not going to lie. But I'm not giving up.
Yeah. You wouldn't trade it. You wouldn't trade it for anything. And we wouldn't trade you if there was an open market or free market for sales representatives, sales executives. LifeVac would retain and sign you to a long-term contract. I'm confident of that.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to me, I said to Arthur when he hired me, I was like, I will do whatever I can. And, he's like, I know you will. That's why I need you here.
Yeah.
Right. I need to have someone I can trust and respect.
Yeah.
And I said, likewise, it's nice to have someone that you can work for that actually you respect and admire.
Yeah, it's fantastic. You know what? We're going to take a quick break. We're going to be back with more In the Arena. We're talking to Heidi Felix. We're joined as always by Pat O'Rourke, and we're going to hear more about Pat's happenings.
What are my
No, we were going
happenings?
to get an update on yours. And we also have Ray Priebe, Mr. 3000, checking in remotely from his son's high school football game. So
nice.
that'll be exciting. We'll see how that works out.
Thursday Night Lights must be JV.
But again, we'll be back with more In the Arena after this.
She started to choke on a piece of candy.
She wasn't breathing.
Then Ray reached for the LifeVac, and it saved her.
She could have easily died that day. A LifeVac saved her life. What I would say is don't need a LifeVac and not have it. Have a LifeVac and hopefully never need it.
Recently, the American Red Cross has added anti-choking devices as an option when standard protocol fails or is not feasible.
Go to lifevac.net or call 877-543-3822.
Everyone, we're back in the arena with Heidi Felix, Vice President of Sales of LifeVac. We have coughing going on. It's okay.
Live audience.
Live audience. Pat,
Roadshow Ryan's in the crowd.
Pat.
Do we have to jump in? We have the LifeVac here. I literally almost choked
Exactly.
on water this morning. I'm not going to lie. I was in the shower. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to die in the shower.
You know, over 300.
That'd be ironic,
Over
drowning in the shower.
300
I know.
different obstructions have been. I hadn't heard water, but I have heard ice cubes being removed with LifeVac. So, I mean, as Donnie Isley keeps track of all of this great information, all of the Save Life reports, we don't get them all, right? There are unreported saves, and Ryan Warner can attest to that. Roadshow.
I'm sure toys, kids, right?
Toys,
Right.
buttons, yo-yos,
Light bulbs.
yes.
Crazy stuff that they've swallowed. I mean, there's a list of like 375 objects that I
Yes.
had at one point.
A lot of steak.
A
lot
lot
of steak
of
for the
steak.
mix.
I had a
Yeah.
friend who used to own a steakhouse in Chicago, and there was a certain kind of steak he stopped serving.
Rich Keever?
Yeah. 'Cause
Nice.
He goes,
Another
they
Massapequan.
would try to swallow
Skirt
too big
steak.
of pieces, and people would choke on it too much. That's why they stopped serving it.
Yep. Well, you know, the gentleman in Trumbull, he actually was eating steak tidbits at the bar when
You
that
think
incident
tidbits,
happened.
it's almost pre-cut tidbits, I'm
You
thinking.
would think, but
Yeah.
sometimes they're very fatty.
Chew
so-
your food, you wolf.
I know, right? Exactly. I used to always say to my kids, like, chew, to swallow.
Use
chew,
a
chew,
fork,
keep
not a
swallowing.
backhoe.
Yeah.
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 Slowly.
Mhm.
Slowly.
Yeah. So you're like, what do we talk about?
Yeah.
So there's kind of a crazy story that led me to my volunteer life and my connection with Arthur, because unfortunately it was a car accident.
Oh,
And it was one of those situations where, you know, I was playing soccer, right? I'm a soccer player.
a lot
Very
of,
good.
you know,
Lot of soccer.
Arthur and I were soccer buddies.
Yeah.
And certainly high school buddies, but
Mhm.
that there was such a common link there. You told me you were a goalkeeper.
I was a goalkeeper.
Me too.
Yeah, I know, right?
Crazy.
So we missed the late bus. My boyfriend and I decided we're going to walk home. And I'm from upstate New York, and it's like 2 miles to get
Rochester.
home, right? Both of us had working parents. So back in the days, there was no cell phones or anything. So we're walking, and he decides to run across the street. And I stopped in the middle. My mom used to always tell me, look both ways. And I look both ways, and I see this car bearing down on me, and the car swerves to miss me, and it hits my boyfriend. Now, what happened after that? I still remember it like it was yesterday. This is 1980. Okay. So I'm 13 years old, and I'm running after this car because I think he's on the hood of the car. I don't know where Tim is. I'm running, and I'm screaming, help me, help me. All these people are coming, stopping their cars. And there he is in the ditch, and he's a bloody mess. The car hit him at probably 50 miles an hour.
Oh my goodness.
But the car swerved to miss me, right? So now I'm like, it's my fault, it's my fault, it's my fault. So I lived with survivor's guilt for a very long time. He lived for 31 years as a paraplegic. He was never able to walk again, never able to talk again. He was fed by a feeding tube. His identical twin and I are best friends still. It's a very difficult story to tell, but that day changed my life. Tim was a very faithful man. He swore, he was 15. He's like, I'm going to marry you. We're going to be missionaries. You know, it's going to be a beautiful life. I mean, here were kids, right? And I remember thinking at the time, and this is the conversation we had right before he was hit. So it took me a very long time to go on with my life. And his mother said, you know, I love you like a daughter, but you know what? You're 13 years old. You have the rest of your life in front of you.
Right.
Flash forward 4 more years, I get in another horrific car accident. I feel like the devil's after me, right? 5 cars head on. I mean, I don't know how I'm still alive today. All I remember is these angel wings literally unfolding around me. And when they pulled me out with the jaws of life, I mean, I had a broken nose, broken ribs, broken knee. I mean, I was a mess, but I was alive. And my dad goes, Heidi, I saw that car. Now, I had a 77 T-Bird. I don't know if you remember the old T-Birds, huge boat of a car. If it wasn't for that car, I would be dead. And when even the paramedics said the same thing to me, they're like, we don't know how you're alive right now. And I go, I don't know, but I know my angel was with me. And,
Do you happen to know who that might have been?
So another boyfriend of mine was killed in a car accident the year before. So I'm pretty sure it was Scott Horsley.
Wow.
Pretty sure of it. But all
Let's
these
not date
horrible
Heidi.
things, like I'm 58, so I'm no spring chicken. But all I can tell you is that all these horrific things that happened to me in my life make me who I am. Right. And so when Arthur, I met him, I had my business card holder said, stop me before I volunteer again, because I teach church school for 23 years. I was a Girl Scout leader, a Cub Scout leader. I did PTA queen. I still do the Key Club. 15 years. I've been a service leader. I'm on the board of Kiwanis and the KBTC, and people are like, I don't know how you do all this stuff, but I don't even know. I seriously
just get it done.
But I say to myself, it's because of Tim. It's because of Scott, and because God kept me here for a purpose. Like, and one of the things I've learned in life, my faith is really what has always guided me, right? Put God first. I wake and I pray. And I pray before I go to sleep, and I pray all day. And so it's something that's really kind of part of me, and people don't understand it unless you're a woman of faith, or a person of faith, I should say, that it's so hard to get in my head, right? So everything that I do is for others, because I know that there's a reason why I'm here, right? And so when I met Arthur and I heard his story, he's like, you're a survivor. We're survivors, right? Of horrific situations that we shouldn't have survived. And that's why it propels us forward to be better people, to share our talents with others. And, it's such a difficult story to tell. And I'm so surprised I made it through without crying. But
well, we did.
To me, life is so short. And after this show, I have to go to a funeral for a friend who was my son's 4th grade teacher, one of the most amazing women in the world, Karen Courage, and taken way too soon, just a year older than me. And I think about what an impact and how many thousands of kids that she taught. And every one of them will tell you the same thing. She was the best teacher I've ever met.
Wow.
And you know what? And so,
and she had a Hunter or both your children?
My Hunter. Yeah. Yep. And she really changed my son it made him a very vibrant child who was very kind of quiet and stuff. And she always said, he's so smart, he has such potential. And so it's people like that, I want to be that person that people remember, because she was a nice person. She was kind to me. She did the right thing, she helped others. She volunteered. I mean, I don't do it for accolades. It's so cool when you get an award, but it's not what it's there. That's not why I do it, Yeah. And so, to me, it's all about just getting up and being the best person you can be each day.
You talk a lot about the importance of faith. And, last week we had that horrific anniversary of 24 years before 9/11. But what about the loss of Charlie Kirk?
It's a horrible thing.
Horrible.
I mean, to me, and I tell you all the time, I don't watch the news. Want to know why I don't watch the news? Because there's nothing good to be said on the news. It's a terrible, we're in a broken world right now. And, teaching church school is really difficult. I have 7 and 8 year olds, and they'll go, Miss Heidi, I don't understand why that happened. And I don't really have a good answer. And that's the thing is, but unfortunately, and this is what I've learned. People of strong faith, the devil wants to win their soul, right? It's not getting mine.
Right. Good call. I've just, blown away, not only how we were affected, but the fact that all of our kids are in an age where this gentleman, Charlie Kirk, was affecting them.
Yeah.
And they identified, and they're trying to make sense of it. It kind of threw me back to think I was born. I would think my mom was pregnant with me when John F. Kennedy was shot. And in the 60s, that type of impactful loss. And
you remember where you were at that time. My girlfriend was actually told me that was the day she came home from the hospital, and nobody was paying attention to the new baby because this, JFK had gotten shot. And it was just, all of these tragedies that are happening in our world today, if more people had faith and trusted each other and did the right thing, then these things wouldn't be happening. Right. And, whatever anyone's politics are, it's not about politics any longer. It's human beings killing each other for what? Because you have a platform that you want to share, that you think that that Luigi who killed that man who was the CEO of a company,
insurance company, right?
It's a horrible world we're living in. And I grew up upstate. We learned how to shoot guns. My father was a sharpshooter in the Navy. We used to go skeet shooting. But I would never take a rifle to someone, right? Even though I know how to do it, right? Yeah. So I just feel like there's so many things that we could learn if we just like, I always think, what would Jesus think of all
Yeah.
this?
What would
Like,
Jesus
if
do?
he was here, you know, and I don't know. I just hope and pray that we're not in the end times.
Yes.
That's all I can say.
Sometimes it seems like it, but
Yeah.
it's time for a break. We're going to be back and talk about some really positive news, and that is the count to 5,000 as we narrow in on 5,000 lives saved worldwide with LifeVac. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Arthur Lee, CEO and inventor of LifeVac, a simple choking rescue device that saved over 4,000 people. 13 years ago when I came up with LifeVac, the design was to be safe and simple. You simply push and pull. There's a vent system, so when you push it down, the air will go out the side. There's a ball valve that locks when you pull it up. With any success, it's going to be copies, and normally that's the way it is. Now, LifeVac is FDA registered manufacturer in New York. A lot of these products, and this is one of the most popular ones, is made in China. But the real problem, it's about $10 to $15 cheaper. If you put your finger over this, you won't be able to push it down. Now, I understand money's money, but this is someone's life at stake. So if you bought this, make sure you practice and don't put your thing. If you put it like this or like this, it won't work, and your loved one's going to die. I understand to buy a cheaper product, but you have to also remember when you buy a cheaper product, you get a cheaper product, and someone's life is at stake. So, if you're thinking of buying it, make sure you understand you cannot do it this way. And two, if someone you love owns this, make sure that when they use it, they have the wherewithal in panic situations not to cover this vet with their phone trying to push it down. Strictly a PSA. Obviously, I hope you buy a LifeVac because I know it's good and I know it works because I made it and it lasts forever. But if you do go with this, please be careful. $10 is my life mistake. Thank you.
Welcome back in the arena. My name is Rick Fatscher, along with Pat O'Rourke and Heidi Felix, Vice President of Sales of LifeVac, and all around great human being, I have to say. And ordinarily, this is the segment of the show where we go to South Florida and talk to Ray Priebe. We call him Mr. 3000 because why? He saved his daughter Maya on a Florida highway with the LifeVac. I believe she was 2 at the time.
Yep.
And we've met Maya. We've talked to her on a weekly basis, and she's in this world because the Priebes had enough sense to get a LifeVac. And one of the most remarkable parts of the story for me is that in the news coverage, when Ray Priebe was interviewed, he started by saying a little bit of a skeptic view or a down view of humanity, where he said, today people don't generally care. But 2 motorists came over with their LifeVac, and that wouldn't have happened, I don't know if it was 3, 4, 5 years ago, when you were staring at 62 pictures on the wall and trying to raise awareness. I mean, and all of these people you were mentioning before, the people at the that share their story, like, hey, Heidi, I want to thank you because we saved our son. And those moments and the Ring doorbells and the police body cams and us talking here, God willing, in the arena helps raise awareness about the 5,000 people that die each year. And that number with Arthur Lee and LifeVac's help can go away. And I hope I live to see that day.
Me too.
Yeah.
I mean, there'll be one day where there's no choking tragedies, and that'll be a beautiful thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We'll get there. So I mentioned that we normally go to Ray Priebe. Bobby, in Ray's absence, I will do the honors of reading the names. If you could roll the count for us this year. Oh, LifeVac tonight. Total lives saved. 2,874 children saved. And 4,715 lives saved. 4,715, marching straight to 5,000.
You know what? I had one more saved this week that was actually from Sinceri Senior Living in the middle of nowhere, Wisconsin. And Arthur sends it to me because he's at a Parkinson's event down in Indianapolis.
Rock steady boxing.
And the person that was saved had Parkinson's. He goes, God wink, Heidi, God wink. And I'm like, I know that's
They're
so
everywhere.
cool. Well, I called Mandy, my VP of clinical operations, and I was like, we have our 13th save. And she's like, oh my God. Like, so it's nice to see when it's happening, old, young, everyone's being saved in between. But that was, again, just the idea that it happened while he was at the Parkinson's event. I was like, thank you, Lord.
Yeah, we had Miss Gupta on last week, and Becky, was it Becky Gupta? Anyway, her dad has since passed, but it was, I think, 4 months that they were given after a choking incident, LifeVac saved, and the family was able to be around. The person was able to pass on their own terms, and their final chapter wasn't a choking tragedy.
Yeah.
And it just, and I always remember Arthur mentioning a card that he received from a family, heartfelt thanks for inventing LifeVac, which gave, again, it was a short period of time, but it was not the final chapter of their loved one's life.
Yeah, it's amazing. We're making a difference.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
And you had gosh, about a month ago, you had like 4 saves in 4 days.
I know.
Yeah.
You know, Arthur's like, what are you at? I'm like, I don't know. It's a couple hundred. I'm not sure.
It's
I keep like
amazing.
losing track. But what I love is, for me, again, you know, I have some personal stories. You know, you met my Vivian Fitzgerald, who I volunteered with for years. Vivian saved her own life, and she had a father with dementia, like I have a mother with dementia. So, you know, it's nice. And on my birthday, so that was the Bristols. The Bristols are amazing. We had 4 lives saved in less than 4 months in all their dementia care facilities. And I'm like, this is why I do what I do. And the best part was on my birthday, which was Palm Sunday, I get a report of a woman the same age as my mother with dementia that was saved right in Garden City. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. This is amazing. Right. Yeah. So again, it's good to know that a lot of these organizations are really embracing how important it is to have another device just to be able to resuscitate somebody if there's ever a situation. And they've been so amazing. It's so funny. I went and did the training at the headquarters because I went in, my VP of clinical, she's amazing. I love her. Maureen's like, can you come in and train all my people, Heidi? And I was like, of course I will. And they're all like, can we have a code? Can we have a code? We really want to buy them. And it was like, I walked out of the room and she's like, you know, everybody here bought one, Heidi. And I'm like, oh, that's great. It's not about sales for me though. You know that, right, yeah. Maureen? And she's like, no, you know, I mean, that everybody here believes in your product. And that's why we implemented it, all the Bristols. And so I'm forever grateful on that one. And that took a little bit, but
amazing.
Yeah.
So we have in the audience, Ryan Roadshow Warner. And I wanted to talk to about, we'll have Ryan on an upcoming show, as he had a great assist in a life saved. Amazing story where he helped a gentleman just with practicing and being comfortable with it. And then less than 2 weeks later, he saved a life.
It's amazing.
Of a child.
You've saved lives. And the best part was when I was working with Ryan at one of the Costco's, I forget where we were. I want to say Holtzville. I had 3 people, all first responders, come up to me, and all of them were Nassau County officers telling me I used it to save a life. I'm like, did you report it? Did you report it? Of
course they did.
How you didn't report it? It was insane, right? And I'm like, I can say, like, we're in Holtzville, and here all we keep getting is, and I kept saying, Ryan, like, this is mind blowing.
Right. For those listening across the country, Long Island listen, it's
Big
a Long Island.
It's a Long Island.
And if we're out east and these first responders are out west, but the point is that, number one, he sees a lot of people calling or coming up to him and verbally saying, hey,
I
didn't report it.
And he's single.
And he's single, ladies.
And he's handsome.
Man.
Very
Yes,
handsome.
yes.
Yeah.
He'll save your life.
Where is Ryan going to be next week? He's going to be
Maryland.
Going to be in the great state of Maryland. So as you see this, he's
And
coming
in
to
Maryland,
a Costco near you.
We are introducing legislation in Maryland. So I'm going to tell you all about him. He's a wonderful guy. So I'll give you all the information. But that'll be introduced very soon. Very excited.
How do you feel about when Costco did the right thing? I mean, other corporations or other chains have had tragedies and have had since implemented, but Costco really seemed to get ahead of it.
What I love about Costco is they're forward thinking, right? And is it a risk assessment and risk management I'm sure, as a corporation, they have to do that. But what they did is they recognized that this little girl who passed, she was shopping for her 5th birthday party, never even made it out of the store alive. And what unfolded, as you can only imagine, and if anybody's ever seen a choking incident, it's not the way anyone should go. It's a really difficult way of dying, and they had to shut their store down that day. I mean, everyone who witnessed it. And so they were proactive and they put it in all their stores, and it's just such a remarkable thing, because I always tell everybody, you guys like Costco? And they're like, I love Costco. Well, guess what? They're really amazing, because if you walk into the food court, you will see the LifeVac on the wall right next to the AED.
Right. And how many now worldwide?
I think 14 lives saved, right? Inside Costco's.
When I was manning the booth with Ryan, we were quoting 11, but I know since then
15. He said,
I think it might be 15. Yeah.
Let's go, BJ.
I think it was just one that came in
And-
last week, actually.
It had to be 12 or 13, just the hot dog.
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah.
hot dogs are
It's
gigantic.
massive. It's insane.
That's
chew
the
your
thing.
food.
I literally can't eat hot dogs. I mean, I just have such PTSD after all these stories I've heard. So, but it's nice
And they
that
have hard candy samples. Not a good idea.
oh my gosh.
taffy.
And the hard candy is one of the things that you hear the most about
Peanut
too.
butter, candy. Yep.
Peanut butter. Yep.
It gets wadded.
Marshmallow was one of the last ones I just heard about.
You know what? In the last minute and 15 or so seconds, now as I blabber on, it's about a minute. I want to talk, and Ray Priebe wanted to talk about the magic that is Donna Yaisley, the keeper of the saves.
I mean, what I love about Donna, so back when I started, it was Steve, Donna, Arthur, and I.
Wow.
Right. And Mike Singer at that point, he was it's amazing. I walk around, I'm like, it's amazing to see where we've come, how far we've come. But what I love about Donna is she's so incredible. She is a class act. She always keeps us all together. I always say she's the glue that holds us together. And she has just been remarkable, and she's a dear friend, and I'm just blessed to have her in my life.
She's far too young to be our mom, but every night she sends the emails with the lives saved for the day. And when you take the time to open them up and see each individual life, family, community that was touched by LifeVac, it is truly, truly inspiring.
And she talks to all of them, and
Yes.
she's got a running record of all these thousands of lives saved. So let's keep them coming, right?
Awesome.
Let's
So you've
keep
been
going.
listening to In the Arena. We love Heidi Felix. We love Pat O'Rourke. I'll be Rick Fatscher, and we'll see you next week
Thank you.
in the Arena.
Boom, boom, boom.
It's no joke when you choke, so get LifeVac and live. Without breath, there'll be death. So get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live. Get LifeVac and live.
LifeVac and live.